Hey guys, welcome to another Monday live. Amina's here. She's got a whole bunch of questions that she didn't ask last Monday and some that's new ones.
Do you want to get started?
Huh?
Just jump right in there.
I'm right in there. Let's go. We got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of crazy questions. Crazy questions, we're going to block them. We're going to throw them out. I don't answer what other people say because that's exactly what they want. It's not that I don't want to answer the question. I really do. My crew, my people, my family, they don't want me hearing, listening to that bullshit or responding to it. Because I get a little edgy with my responses. It's edgy, and I'm having trouble with my eyes. Obviously, you know about that. My ears. So now people are saying that I'm not only losing my hearing, my eyes, so I'm deaf, dumb, and blind. So I don't mind that label. Deaf, dumb, and blind. DDB. So I'm a DDB guy now. At my age, it's okay. I just had cotton balls in my ear, so it's hard to hear.
Just to remind everybody, hit like, subscribe, and follow on all the other platforms. I see everybody in the chats. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everybody. Please, I'm going to say it right now at the top of the hour. Please be respectful in the chat. I am not tolerating any disrespect in the chat in any way, shape, or form. Everybody, please be respectful with each other. Sterling just posted our new Christmas card. So you guys should have seen that. We're going to start doing pre-orders on those. Those will not ship until November 20th. So if anybody's ordering those, feel free to order them, but just know that they're not going to ship until November 20th. We do still have some of the old Christmas cards as well, so you can have your choice of either one. And now we will just jump into some of the questions from last week that we had that we didn't get to.
Well, I'd like to ask a question. If we're getting the older ones now, do we get a discount?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little generous. Okay, I'll knock them down to $10. The old cards will be $10.
The new ones are $15. So I don't want people to think he's taking 15 on old, new.
So from last week in our super chat, we had Anubis who asked, Sammy, did the Mafia discover that Tommy, I think it's Uva, was the guy robbing the games, or was the Mafia looking for the guy driving the car that was seen leaving a game after a robbery?
I mean, they were looking for all of them, if I remember right. That gang, they ran around robbing clubs, sticking up clubs. I don't remember the guy's name. I wasn't involved in being robbed or going after them. But guys went after them. That might have been the guy's name. I'm not sure.
Okay, before I get to the next question, Samuel in the chat, yes, you can get any of the cards or any of the things that we have, any of the merch, guys, that we have in-house for all of our international fans. For some reason on the website, it's really difficult to place the order there for international fans. It's just not set up that way. So please reach out to support@sammythebull.com and I will take care of you. Again, support@sammythebull.com. We'll also drop that in the caption below. Hi, El Gato. El Gato just gave you a kick up to you in the super chat.
We just talked to El Gato personally. That's my man. He's a great guy.
El Gato's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. My whole team loves him. He's a great guy and talk straight up. I like that. Man to man, he's a real man.
Okay. Our second super chat from last week is from M Driver 1981. At mob funerals, did you consider it super awkward when you saw the person who performed or ordered the hit on the deceased playing the part of a mourner, kissing the widow, etc.? This is from Matt.
No. It happened to me as well, where I was part of a murder. My first murder, Joe Colucci, I went to the wake. Guess the woman who, they lost people, they did nothing wrong. They lost somebody that they loved. Whether he was right or wrong was a whole nother question. And that's what happens. I don't look down on that. I just did a video about my friend Huck, who came looking for me when he got orders after I cooperated. I wasn't mad at him. That's part of the life. So if he would have got me, it's really not him. It's people giving the orders, and you have to accept the orders. And if you broke the rules, that's just the life. That's the way it is. I mean, so we basically accept that. I do. That a guy came looking for me and he was close with me. I helped him a lot. So that's part of the life. And if you're part of the hit, you generally would have to go, not to show that, why didn't you go if you knew the family and everything? I mean, we didn't do that with Castellano and a few of them because I think it was pretty obvious, and I thought I knew the whole family. It was disrespectful to go. I was a little too close with the family. So it can go either way. You could look at it as being disrespectful, or you could look at it as it's part of the life. It's what we do.
I have a nice kick up to you from Daniel Lozano in the super chat.
Thank you. Thank you, bro.
Question from Redman. Sammy, Huck's passing made me think of two questions. The first question is, when you pass away, where do you want to be buried? You've pretty much lived half of your life in New York and the other half in Arizona.
I'm going to leave that up to my family, where they would want, where it would be easier if they wanted to come to the gravesite. If they wanted to cremate me, that's fine. If they wanted to put me near a beautiful lake somewhere under a beautiful tree, that's fine. So I would leave that to my family. I probably wouldn't be able to get where my mother and father or sisters were buried. Normally in an Italian family, that's what we do. But these circumstances are totally different. So I'm going to leave that up to them. Now, even there's a lot of people would cremate and they put an urn and they put you up there. My grandmother used to do that. I don't want to do that. So, because someday they put a little coffee in the urn by accident and drink me up. So I don't want to do that.
That's so morbid. Okay. The second part of Redman's question is, back when the Gambinos had a hit out on you, did you know at the time that it was specifically Huck looking for you? And did you ever see him while he was trying to kill you?
No, I didn't know specifically it was him until the guy he was working with, Fat Sally, got pinched for some sort of drugs or something. He cooperated and he told on Huck, my brother-in-law Eddie, and Peter Gotti, and because they were all part of the hit. My brother-in-law got information where my wife was living, giving it to Huck and Fat Sally so they could come down there. But I didn't know. I knew John was going to send somebody. I was ready. I'm a hit guy. I was completely ready. But I didn't know who was going to come and when they were going to come. But I was always ready. When I first cooperated and I got back to Arizona, I had a gun on me constantly and other guns around me. So I was ready to go. I was going to battle it out. But I never knew who they sent until, later when Huck got pinched and Peter Gotti got pinched, and I think my brother-in-law got pinched as well. Eddie Garofalo.
Francisco says, question, how well did you know the Bath Avenue crew and Jimmy Calandra back in the day?
They were a little younger than me. I knew there was a crew there. They were up and coming. I went away before I really got to know any of them. I knew them as kids. They were much younger than me. I'm not sure. I know Jimmy Calandria is a friend of mine. I'm not sure how old he is, but I'm sure he's a lot younger than me. I'm 80. I think he's probably in his 50s somewhere. They were that much younger, 10, 15, 20 years younger. So I really didn't know them well. I knew they had a little bit of a reputation. There was another crew from Bay Parkway that they used to argue and fight. I heard a lot of those stories when I went away, so I really didn't know them well.
I have Bear in the super chat. Happy holiday season, Sammy. Here's a coffee on me. Dean Martin or Frank Sinatra? I'd choose Dean Martin, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest with you. I like Dean Martin a lot, too. I always liked Frank Sinatra. He was a good man. He was connected with the mob. He did the right thing for people in the mob. I told a little story one time. We went down to the Wagon Wheels, which was a club down in New York, half a disco, half a club, bar, whatever you want to call it. His friend owned the place, so whenever he came to New York, he would go there. So he would make mention, I'm coming to New York. Wagon Wheels was packed with people all the time because they knew he would come in. I was in the Wagon Wheels, and somebody took me over to a table. There was a few actresses there. I forget which one it was. She was beautiful. She was sitting down, and she made mention about me and one of my friends. Why are these young punks sitting with us? It didn't bother me too much, but Sinatra got involved and told her, who the fuck are you to talk to them like that? Get up and get off this table. He threw her off the table. I'll never forget that. That's really all I knew of him, other than he was a great entertainer, an Italian. But Dean Martin I fit into him, his music, everything. I liked him more. Not when he was with Jerry Lewis, but when he broke up with Jerry Lewis, he hooked up into the Rat Pack with Sinatra and all of them, Sammy Davis Jr. and a whole bunch of them. And I liked him the best.
Another question from last week. Alan Chabot says, how would you have handled it if Paul gave you John's ticket?
Early in, before I knew John, but I wasn't super friendly with him when he got in trouble. If Paul would have gave me his ticket, I didn't know him well. I knew of him. I probably would have went for him. I probably would have took him out or part of his crew. That's what I did. I didn't refuse orders. I did those things. So I would have went after him. I would have went against him. But Paul did a lot of fucked up things. And when it came down to the thing that swayed me over to go on John's side was Frankie DeChico. I loved him. He was like a big brother to me. And he explained to me, we should do this. Take Paul out, bring back Cosa Nostra like it's supposed to be. We make John the boss. I didn't like that. I said, no, I'd rather you be the boss. He said, I could be his underboss. He can't be mine. We'll have nothing but problems. Sammy, me and you will be the power behind the throne. If he don't handle himself right, I give you my word, we'll kill him. I'll be the boss and you'll be my under. I shook Frankie's hand and that's how I came in. Not so much for John, but for Frankie DeChico.
Al Star wanted to know, Sammy, did you ever run into Henry Hill or Frank Collada?
No.
Chino wanted to know, have you ever met Michael's father, Sonny?
Sonny Francis? No. I went to the rally when he was locked up against the FBI. I was there early. There was a whole bunch of guys around, some blonde, a beautiful blonde. And I said, who is that girl? Why are they all around her? They said it's Sonny's wife or fiance or something. So I didn't really know him when he went away. And I didn't know him on the street. He was a little bit before my time. Well, he just died at 103. So it gives you an example. I'm 80, it's 90, 100. He's 23, 25 years old, 23 years older than me. So when I was too young.
Kenneth Sponberg asks, Sammy, I know bosses like Carlo Gambino didn't live flashy lives, but what did they do with their money? What didn't they spend it on, if not on nice houses and cars?
Well, a lot of them bunked it. I don't know what they did with their money, but they weren't flashy because they're not supposed to be. You know, money is a number. When you have everything you want, and some people don't want a lot out of life. They don't want a big, big house. They're happy in the house with their family. You can't budge them out of those houses. So it's not about money for a lot of those guys. It's, if you got $50 million, what's the difference if you get another million? 51 million? It's a number. He's got everything he wants. He's got fuck you money. He's not concerned with money. And he's not concerned with being flashy because that's definitely against our principles and our life. So that's how they handled themselves. Carlo Gambino must have had a ton of money. You're right. So did Paul Castellano. Paul Castellano was a little bit more flashy, like the big house. But he lived in Brooklyn before that in a nice house, but regular house. And I think as he made money, he wanted that house for some reason. And and they were all like that. Chin had a lot of money. Benny Eggs had a lot of money. Fat Tony had a lot of. They didn't live fancy. It was against our rules. We were supposed to be non-existent. We recognize each other. We're not movie stars. We're not actors. We're not supposed to be out there. The public is not supposed to know us, love us. John twisted that whole thing around. And there wasn't one boss, underboss. Probably there wasn't a lot of guys in the Mafia who liked what he was doing. And if Frankie would have survived, we would have probably killed him for what he did. He brought it and put it, even the agents, I saw interviews that they did, and when I cooperated, I got to know them. They said, John gave us the Mafia on a silver platter. Everybody goes down and meets him. Everybody pays homage to him. He signs autographs, takes pictures. He's waving to the news media all the time. They knew it hurt the whole Mafia, actually. Somebody just gave me wings. What the fuck was that? Was that wings? And was that TikTok? TikTok gives all kinds of. I had a cowboy hat, wings so far, a parrot nose I think I had. My nose ain't that bad.
I have Paxton Crawford asking, did Johnny Keys' wife ever get his shoes? And if so, who delivered them?
I don't think she got the shoes. And nobody delivered them. We got rid of him. So he just wanted to die without his shoes. And I made sure that happened. And I don't think she got them, no.
Here, I have another super chat for you. Hey, Sammy, what was Carlo Gambino like?
Listen, if you had a grandfather, an old timer that you love, that was Carlo Gambino. He was gentle. He was kind. The first time I ever met him, when I switched from the Colombo family to the Gambino family, Tato took me to his apartment on Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn. And I went in there. There was 4 or 5 guys. I met him. He says, is this Sammy the Bull? Tato said, yes. He says, I hear a lot of good things about you, Sammy. Behave yourself with us and be a good boy. I was much younger than him. And then he asked me if I wanted a cup of espresso. I said, yes. Now, there was 4 or 5 guys in there. I figured one of them would probably get it. He got up, made the coffee himself. He asked me if I wanted anisette in the coffee. I told him yes. He put a little teaspoon of anisette. And then he told me about a lemon peel or an orange peel. Put it around the border of the cup. And that's the way you drink it. And that's the way I remember him. That's the kind of guy he was. He wasn't bloodthirsty. Of course, he gave orders when he had to. But he was a kind guy. Everybody loved him. Everybody made money with him. That's what I know of him. I knew his sons later on, Tommy Gambino and people like that. So I think he was a great guy. Everybody thinks he was a great boss. He was very intelligent, very caring, very understanding, and he wasn't bloodthirsty. So that's a thing that mob guys got to walk around. When you got a boss who's bloodthirsty, he's killing guys left and right, you start to worry what you're going to say, how you're going to act. He wasn't like that at all.
I have J. Marie in the super chat. Hey, J. Marie. We see all these videos of people blocking, following, and antagonizing ICE Border Patrol. As a gangster, this is something I would never even consider. These folks aren't that smart because that's a game they will lose.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And here's another thing I think. Trump is putting in these people, ICE and soldiers, to, get rid of bad people off the street, and take down crime. I don't see where there's anything wrong with that. And we're treating these soldiers, when he brings in the soldiers and some ICE guys, like they're in an invasion. These are our sons and daughters are in the military and in ICE. They're not coming for us unless we're bad. So why the fuck does it bother you that these people are on the street helping? I don't understand why you don't want them. If they could help the police and work with the police and lower crime, I'm sure as a man I had a wife, daughter, granddaughter, nieces, and people. Why wouldn't I want somebody to stop that crime? I don't do that kind of crime hurting legitimate people. So I want my family taken care of and everybody else's family taken care of. And I'm not afraid of the military. That's our military. That is our sons and daughters who are in that military. They're not coming from someplace else. They're coming from people who are around us. They're family people. They're not violent. If they go to war, I was in the military. They're dangerous. But in this case, they don't go around, hurting people. They're getting people off the street who are not citizens, don't belong, or people who are committing crimes. I don't understand why people don't like that.
Gee6395 in the super chat, did Gotti ever know about your drug arrest?
About my what?
The drug arrest?
The drug arrest? When you're saying the drug arrest, I would imagine you're talking about ecstasy. I don't know if he knew or didn't know. I know some people knew, and they called it a drug arrest. Listen, I didn't look at ecstasy as drugs. I look at drugs as heroin, crack, cocaine, stuff you're stuck on. Ecstasy, I imagined ecstasy to be like pot. Pot is bullshit. You get a little high, you laugh, you giggle. Nobody gets hurt over pot or ecstasy. It made people lovey-dovey, happy. I didn't look at it as a drug. When I could have done drugs is when I was in the life, there was heroin dealers, people coming in from different countries. I never wanted to get involved with drugs because I didn't like the people who were in drugs. And I never wanted those people around me. That's why I didn't do drugs. Now, ecstasy, I did not look at it as it's a fun drug that kids took. I never tried it. I never took it. I never really took any drugs in my life. I'm a control freak. I like to be in control of myself. I don't like to be stoned. I did smoke pot as a kid. Get a little high. The only thing that happened with me with pot is that I got a little horny, or I would laugh at any stupid stuff that happened, and I was relaxed. That's it. And I'm not hooked on it. Maybe I smoked pot on let's say a Sunday. I didn't smoke pot again until the next Friday. When you're hooked, like with heroin, drugs, when you say the word drugs, those people have to have that every day to live and survive. Now, that's something I'm dead against. But I'm not against pot. I'm not against ecstasy, and that's the way I looked at it. So when you say when I was in the drug business, I was never in the drug business. Even though you can call that a drug, you can call pot a drug. How many kids smoked pot and went to college, got their life fucked up, they got arrested because of pot? It's stupid. I think it's legal now. I'm all for it. Let these kids smoke a little joint. Let them have fun. If you can go out and drink whiskey and stuff like that, it's 10 times worse than pot or ecstasy. And we allow that. You can't allow that and not this, in my opinion. So they're two different animals. So I was never in a drug business, in my mind. You know, the law could say ecstasy was, you broke the law. All right, I broke the law. But it wasn't a drug, a hard drug. And the same thing with pot. Now they legalized it, which is good. And I think it's, you know, people, if they want to make money and do it, fine. If they want to smoke it, fine. Nobody's going to drop dead over smoking a joint or go kill somebody because they smoked a joint or do anything criminal. So what's the harm of it? Actually, alcohol is worse. So let me go to the next question. That's how I stand on that. I'm not a drug dealer. Never was.
Flamime in the super chat wants to know, hey, Sammy, did you ever meet Nicky Barnes or Frank Lucas?
No, I never met them personally. I was in jails with guys who were in their crew. I'm doing a story about it. But no, I didn't meet them personally. I knew Fat Cat Nichols and his whole crew. I was with them guys in prison. So I met with some of their guys. I heard some of their stories. I knew Fat Cat very, very well. There's a few guys who were really rough. Brian Gibbs, I know him very well. Real tough guy, changed his life around, doing good things. You could see he does videos too. He's straightened his life out. I'm very friendly with him. You could look him up. Brian Gibbs, a real tough guy, but he really changed his life around. He does good things. When he found out I changed my life and I left the life and I became a born-again Christian, he started talking to me, sending me messages and stuff. And I sent him messages back, all beautiful messages. I wish I could show you them all. He's a good man. And but he was a real rough guy, big name back in the day. And he goes into those things with those guys. But I never met neither one of those guys. I knew of them. I knew a lot more about them when I was in prison, but I never knew them or hung out with them or anything like that.
Someone in your chat asks, hey, Sammy, if God would make it possible to have a chat with your parents, what would you tell them right now after all of this? Because you said they didn't want that life for you.
I wouldn't tell them anything because they would know, and God knows, how much I love them and respected them. I would say, if I broke your heart by being in the life, I apologize. It's just something that happened with me. I was in a gang as a kid. I had trouble in schools. One thing led to another, and I wound up in the Mafia. I became Mafia-oriented. Before I went into the Mafia, I was in the military. I was being trained in the military at one point for just a short amount of time to become an assassin for the government. And I understood that. I was in the infantry and I went to a different communications division, and they picked me to join a group of assassins. And they said, every once in a while, we'll pull you out, and guys from other crews will put you all together, and you can go do an assassination in Vietnam while I was going to Vietnam. I did that. I agreed to do that. And I agreed that I was fighting for the country and I would have killed. You can call me an assassin or whatever you wanted to call me. I did the training for a short period of time. I quit because they wanted me to re-enlist and stay in for another 3 years. I only had about 5-6 months left. I said, I'm not staying. I'm not making a career out of it. And I pulled away from the assassination stuff. And then I left the Army with an honorable discharge. And matter of fact, a holiday is coming up for veterans now, and I'm participating with some veterans. I made some contributions to them, and I'm going to do some stuff about them. So, by being trained as a kid in the military to be an assassin, the Mafia was no different to me. The mafia was my government. And if I had to be an assassin in the government, and I had to be an assassin in the mafia, it made the same sense to me. I know it doesn't sound normal, but it made the same thing to me. First, I was defending the United States. Now I was defending the mafia. If God came to me tomorrow and said, I want you to be a warrior for me, I would join. If God gave me that voice and talked to me, I would be a warrior for God. I was a warrior for the mafia. I would be a warrior for God. I would go right in. I fit in those groups, I guess.